Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Hope you're having a great week. If you are new to Business Influencers, you found us here at the TALRadio platform for Touch of Life Foundation. Here you can find many great podcast episodes around many different topic areas that will suit your personal and professional needs. And feel free to, find us there. We've been on with TALRadio now for over 4 years. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but again, we are committed to your success, as it's through the power of influence that all things are possible when you look at what you're trying to accomplish both on a personal and professional level. And here we are committed to elevating businesses in terms of their impact, performance, and productivity, and of course, making more money through the power of influence. Our show can be followed anywhere, not only on the TALRadio platform at talradio.org, but also on YouTube, where you can watch the show each and every week. We're also on Apple, Spotify as well. Feel free to make sure that you check us out there. And again, we do post the show in and around social media, so you can always access the links anywhere, whether if it's LinkedIn or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, you name it, you will find the show out there. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine, authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, I can't wait to get started. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about the real reason you're exhausted. Now, if you're a leader, why most leadership advice is pointing you in the wrong direction. Now, you've done programs, you've read books, maybe you've hired a coach, and you're still tired and carrying it all. Well, that's going to stop here, because we have the right person that is going to be sharing a lot of valuable insights, and you're going to get an opportunity to connect with him, as you could have a one-on-one conversation perhaps soon after, and you'll get all of his contact information not only here, but also in the show notes. We're going to be here with Ray Gage. With 55 years, Ray's followed the script. He did what he was told, followed the rules, built a thriving career, climbed ladders, and checked every box. From the outside, he had it all: vacations, country club, money. Inside, he was running on autopilot, asking silent questions no one else seemed to be asking. Why does this success feel so empty? What if I'm meant for something more, not just more stuff, but more meaning? Walking away wasn't easy, but it was necessary. He stopped chasing what was not his and discovered what was always waiting within. That recognition, not an improvement project, not a forward progression, but seeing of what was always there, became the foundation of everything he now teaches, writes, and speaks about. For over 25 years, Ray has immersed him in helping individuals and leaders reframe their perceptions and break free from limiting beliefs. His book, Start With Stop, challenges readers to question old assumptions and build a path that aligns with who they are, not just what they do. And without further ado, we welcome Ray Gage to the show. Ray, how you doing today?
Fantastic, Chris. Thanks for the introduction. I'm happy to be here. It sounds like I'm 90, right? Because 55 years and then 25 years, right?
I was going to say, you don't look much older than me at all, and I'm old, and I'm like, geez, but I'm definitely not like in my 70s or anything like that, but I can say that but from what that bio, you have a lot of experience. And I guess let's start, before we get into the title, give us a little background of your evolution of yourself that evolved and where you've arrived to really, you immersed yourself in this, and now how you're changing the lives of other future leaders or leaders and future leaders to see it from a different reframe.
When I look back at everything that I've been through, I can see things now that I couldn't see when I was in the middle of it. And how many times does that happen to anyone, really, if they're willing to take the time to do that for themselves? I tell people the story that for years, I used to say to people, the day that you wake up and you hate what you do is the day you need to find something else to do. And I think that's great advice. I really do think it's really sound, solid advice. It sucks when it happens to you.
Yeah.
So I'm the one telling everybody this, and then I wake up one morning and I'm 55 years old and I'm thinking, this sucks. I got to take my own advice. And, at that point in life, it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
It's just, you're, by all standards, you're 10 years, hopefully, at the most, if not less, away from retirement. I'm going to start over. I was like, the fun thing is I got all the boxes checked before I retired, right? So like most people, they have a roadmap they want for their career. They decide that these are the things they want to accomplish. And most people never get those boxes checked. So I was the opposite. I got those boxes checked. And then I was like, okay, so now what, right? Why did the finish line move? So that's where everything started. I just am real soul searching. I had 3 people that I knew really well that actually one was my age and the other 2 were just a little younger than I was. They all passed away unexpectedly for different reasons within about a 6 to 8 month time period. And I started having this thought, like if my card gets pulled tomorrow, am I doing what I want to be doing? And then when the answer that comes back to you is no, that just really creates some discomfort. And I sat with that for a long enough period of time that I've got to make a change. I've got to do something different. I've got to find a way to love what I'm doing, or a way to do what I love and make some money at it, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was, I made the hard decision. I tell the story in the forward of my book about kind of the progression of where I was when it happened and just the weight of it all and then how it was lifted and then transitioning over to doing something different was basically taking everything that I had learned and figuring out a way that I could help other people maybe get the realization more quickly. Right? So like I see where you are, I was there. I'd like to help you get to where I am now, and I don't want it to take you 30 years.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it started with business coaching and consulting, which a lot of people do. I saw it because my first career was insurance, and I sold insurance. I worked with commercial businesses. And I saw so many businesses start and fail. And people were really good at the thing that they did, but they had no idea how to make it a business. And I saw that need and I thought, I can step in there and I can help people figure out how they can take the thing that they love and make it a business instead of 2 years later failing and thinking that they're a failure. And so it led to creating some programs, writing the book. Somebody said, write a book. And I'm like, why? They're like, well, why not? I don't like reading those books. Why would you ask me to write a book about them? So I did. I wrote a book, but I wrote a book that's different because I wanted to write a book that I would want to read. And so it is different. I mean, I could tell you really quickly, it's 16 chapters and each chapter is different. So you don't have to read the whole book. If you only want to read chapter 13, just read chapter 13.
Well, it's almost like 16 mini books.
Exactly. It's like 16 mini books because, most self-help books, and you've been around this industry for a long time, and not all of them, there's exceptions, but most of them, they have 1 or 2 really great ideas, sometimes 3. You read the first 3 or 4 chapters and you've got it. The rest is is filler. It's fluff to try to fill the pages of a book. And that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually provide substance for people in a different way by reading a book. Like, okay, there's underlying themes, but if you're not interested in the chapter on balance, don't read the chapter on balance. Just skip to the ones you want. And in the course of this, I wrote a leadership course. So leadership development is huge in business worldwide, but especially in the United States. And I mean, Forbes estimates it's a $450 billion plus worldwide, with over $250 billion of that just in the United States spent every year after year on leadership training and development. That's a big machine to keep fueled when you think about it. They need you to keep coming back, to keep coming back, to keep coming back. I wrote a course, I called it Within, Leading from the Inside, based on a genuine recognition, I think, that leadership starts with you. And people took the course, it sold it for thousands of dollars and got all kinds of rave reviews about it, comparing it to, Maxwell and Cardone, for example. And then I realized I was just doing the same thing that everybody else was doing. I took a genuine recognition, I turned it into a framework, I sold it for money, and the needle was staying stuck. One thing that happened was I had people say to me, this is really uncomfortable. It was exposing problems for them that they had in other relationships. That was unique to me because I had never seen that happen before, and it really started making me question the foundation of what I was doing. And as a challenge I give to most people now as kind of an evolution of where I'm at, is most people don't like looking at the foundation of what they believe about anything. Because if the foundation is cracked, everything I've built on top of it structurally probably has flaws.
Yes.
So I stopped selling the course. It's still on my website, but that's because I haven't replaced it with what I'm giving away now. So I stopped selling the course and I started asking harder questions. Like, what is the foundation of this? And you see words like leader and leadership, founder, those words are just thrown around everywhere. Like, if you're on LinkedIn, you can't scroll through your feed and not see those people talking about that.
They're everywhere.
It's everywhere. To me, it's just, the content just sounds like verbal vomit. It's like, you took somebody else, you borrowed something from somebody else, who borrowed it from somebody else, you swallowed it and then regurgitated it in a different way, you think, in a different way, but it just sounds the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
I went back to the source. Like, okay, what does Webster's have to say about this? How does Webster define a leader? And I mean, it's really crazy because, if you look at the definition of a leader or of leadership is, I'm going to read this to you. So Webster says it's the act or instance of leading. Well, that's really clear, right? So what does Webster say leading is, right? It's providing direction or guidance. And what's a leader? A leader is a person or an animal who leads, right? These are sentences eating themselves, right? This is not a definition. Like we're going in circles with these definitions. And then, the worst part of it is we go to like leadership is influence, right? The phrase that launched 1,000 careers. It's on t-shirts and coffee mugs and made famous by John Maxwell. And, that the problem with that is influence is the power capacity to cause an effect in indirect or intangible ways. Well, that's also the definition of manipulation. Now let's go a step further. The thesaurus. When you look up the word manipulation in the thesaurus, one of the synonyms for manipulation is leadership. We have a problem, right? This multi-billion-dollar machine that is sucking people in year after year after year after year doesn't want you to learn how to become a leader, whatever a leader is, and not need it anymore. There's no way for it to sustain itself otherwise. So the foundation is rotten, not the furniture, the foundation. And I'm talking about the institution itself. Whenever you can see parallels to this in government, medicine, just our capitalism in general, right? The machine needs fed. There's really fantastic people, well-meaning, good people within these institutions that really are trying to make a difference. That's not the problem. The problem is the institution itself. There's not enough new leaders coming into the sphere every year to sustain the machine.
Yeah.
So I have to keep people stuck in the machine to keep the machine running. To me, that just doesn't sound, that is the opposite of leadership, that most people would say, well, how is that leadership? So the people teaching leadership aren't really leading either. So what do I have to? I have to take another look at this. And that's my philosophy is start with stop. right? I can't keep doing the same things day after day after day and expecting anything to be different.
And I would say what you're sharing, I mean, this is great insights that you're sharing, and you got so much, you hit on so many key points, and if people are going to make that shift, I mean, now they realize that if they keep doing the same things over and over and getting the same results, again, something's got to change. So that means that they have to be open for change, in what you're sharing here. And, so could you share, what would be that first step that you would recommend? Maybe if there's a process that they have to go about to make these changes, what would that look like?
This is where what I talk to people about is so much different than what they're used to hearing, because the minute that clarity comes into the picture, something wants to step in as a framework. Now I've got a framework to replace my clarity because, okay, well, if I was doing that and that wasn't working, then what do I do instead? So it becomes, it's just the performance loop over and over and over again. And what it really starts with is it starts with a genuine recognition of what leadership is at its core. And I will offer an alternative definition of leadership. And then we can work from there. Because to start with, I think we talked about this in the description for the show, was the 2 illusions that are killing leadership. And these are at the foundation. I'm in the middle of a newsletter series on LinkedIn right now where I'm actually destroying 11 myths. But the 2 illusions that are at the base of it all are, the first one is it's about them, right? It's always outward facing.
Yeah.
And the second illusion is they need me. And we could spend probably a couple episodes just talking about those 2 things, right? But when you see it, it's hard to unsee it. But then it's like, well, what do I do? And that's where it becomes a problem for me, because then I'm like, I'm just creating another framework that I'm going to try to sell somebody so that they can pay me money to get unstuck, and they're just going to stay stuck. I don't want to keep people in that performance loop. So what I think it is, I'm going to give you this is my definition of leadership. So leadership is seeing yourself honestly enough to stop controlling others and start trusting them. Now, there's a lot that goes into what that looks like, right? This isn't self-leadership. This is self-honesty. This is self-trust. This is self-awareness at its very core. Knowing that I can't show up any better for someone else than I can show up for myself without faking it. And I can only fake it for so long before people realize I'm a fake.
Yeah. That transparency is so important.
Yep. So that's what now I developed an app. It costs a lot of money to develop the app, but then the voice in my head said, you can't charge for this. You have to give it away. Like,
I got to cover the cost for it.
So I'm like, all right. So day 1, I announced it. It's free. I mean, the link's there. You don't give me your email. You don't have to create a username. You don't have to create a password. It's free. It'll be free as long as I can afford for it to be free. And once I can't afford for it to be free, it just won't be there. I'm not going to start charging for it. That's not the point. So if I'm going to tell you, you need to do something differently, then I need to do that as well.
I love that. I love you're being transparent, and that's number one. People respect that. And I'm a firm believer that transparency is what builds rapport and trust with others and so on. So that's one thing I had to learn the hard way back in the day. So I can align with what you shared 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's time for anything else. If you have any questions that
you have, I know we're getting towards the end, but if you could share another key point that you feel is going to really, again, connect the dots with them turning, feeling exhausted to feeling exhilarating and feeling, like they have their energy, and that by being more transparent, they're more open for better advice or anything else that you feel that could connect the dots.
Right. So the there's so much around, burnout, and we have all of these training programs in place, but why do we have to keep taking them again? Why are people exhausted? Why is there so much urgency but no solution? And the exhaustion that we're feeling, I think if people started with this, the exhaustion that you're feeling is from what you're carrying that doesn't belong to you. That's where this starts, is I need to stop trying to fix everybody else.
I love what you said. One thing I learned, that if you take care of you, you be the example and then be a resource for, that's the greatest gift you could give somebody, whether if it's professionally, personally, rather than try to fix them or do it, you do it for them. Exactly.
And so the app that I developed is actually called Stop Fixing, Start Seeing. And it's really the basis of it. I don't know how many people are using it, but I know people are, because I have no way of tracking it. And that's okay, because it's meant to hopefully make a difference for people without them feeling obligated to me or anybody in any certain way.
So with that being said, because I know we're towards the end of the show, and I want to make sure people get access to that app. Before we do that, I want to thank you for sharing this information. We're going to have you on another future show to continue where we left off, or even if we want to talk about something slightly different other than where we left off, we're going to do that. I want to thank you personally, and then also for the rest of the team here at the Touch of Life Foundation. I want the audience to reach out to you. I'd like the audience to get to know what's the best way to contact you, what are you up to, and more information how they can get access to that app.
Probably the best thing right now to do would be just to shoot me a message on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. If you can look me up on there, I think I provided my links.
All the contact information will be in the show notes, correct?
Right, but any of the social media that you use, if you use Instagram, my Instagram's on there. If you use Facebook, that's on there. If you use LinkedIn, that's on there. My email address is ray@areyouuntapped. That's AREYOU untapped.com. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them for you if you want to set up a phone call or a Zoom call, whatever that is. I love having these conversations. They're different, hopefully. They sound different for a reason, because they have to.
Yes. Well, Ray, thank you so much again for being here. This has been wonderful. We're going to have you on another future show. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, we are committed to bringing in subject matter experts like Ray to share their words of insights and a personal experience to help elevate you and your influence to the next level. If there is content you'd like to see on a future show, feel free to reach out to our team here at Chris@ChristopherSalem.com. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you here next week at the same time, same date, or not the same date, a different date, but the same day and same time. I should communicate that much better there. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you then. Take care.